We'll call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Monday, November the 21st, 2022 to order. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mark?
Here.
Commissioner McKay?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Liner?
Here.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Here.
Chairman Jones?
Here. If you will, please let's stand together as our county attorney will lead us in prayer, and then please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good and gracious God, where spiritual darkness reigns, there is discord, intolerance, and hostility. We invoke your Holy Spirit and pray that the sacred light might cast out the darkness from this country and from our world. Let the days ahead, especially, be ones of charity and love for all, mindful of those who are in most need. We make this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning to each of you, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting, which is your meeting, and to those that may be viewing online today, we welcome you. I would ask that all our attendees please make sure our phones are on silence, that they wouldn't disrupt the meeting today. As we begin also, I would like to introduce and welcome Alderman Brinson here with us. Again, thank you for your attendance, sir, and thank you for coming and being a part of this meeting today. Commissioners, you have there before you your agenda packets. Are there any items that you desire to add or to remove from today's agenda?
Make a motion to approve it as
Second.
is.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item 1 is the lease agreement between Craven County and the Craven Community College Public Safety Training Center. We have this morning Mr. Eric Grady and Mr. Jack Vite. Good morning, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thanks for the opportunity to present this item to you. Item number 1. In your attachments, there are 3 documents to cover with you. One is a letter dated 8 March 2022 from the Craven County Firemen's Association. And if you reference that attachment, you'll see that it's been signed by every fire chief in Craven County. And what the purpose of this document would be to return the deed of a piece of land in the industrial park that was given to this organization for a fire safety training facility. To further that statement, if you look at the second attachment with this item, there is a deed from 2002 where this property was deeded to the Firemen's Association. And if you note all the particulars, but there's one statement in there that basically says if they never develop this as a fire training ground, the county has the right to receive the property back. So in conversations with the leadership of the Firemen's Association, they've determined that over the last 20 plus years, they've been unable to raise the funds independently to ever build this facility. It would take a tremendous amount of oversight from someone to manage it if it was built. And that's where the third document comes into play, which is a lease agreement with Craven Community College to take the land back from the Firemen's Association, lease it to the college for $1 a year, and allow them to access other funding options, particularly at the state level, to build the facility. Mr. Grady did most of the lease negotiation with the college attorney, so I'll ask him if he wants to make any comments.
Thank you, Jack. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning.
Good morning.
The lease is about as favorable to us as a landowner that one could hope. There are basically few, if any, meaningful obligations on our part. I will note that, the property is out in the industrial park. If you will look at Exhibit A to the lease, basically the property at issue surrounds, I guess I'll call them the lagoons that the city of New Bern owns for the sewer system, or the part of the sewer system out there. I think that makes these properties less attractive for general industrial development and probably ideally suited for something like this. So the lease is ready to be executed once we have the deed in hand from the Firemen's Association, and I'll be glad to answer any questions on it. But It is in good form and, in my opinion, is in the best interest of the county.
All right, Commissioners, questions for the county attorney, county manager?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the lease with execution delivery contingent upon the deeding of the subject property back to the county by the Firemen's Association. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 2 is the consent agenda. You have there before you the minutes of the November 7th, 2022 regular session, tax releases, Sheriff's Office donation check, and the Convention Center disposition of damaged property. Are there any consent agenda items that you desire to pull?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda A through D. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Minor?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Zucker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, thank you. Departmental matters, item 3. The first item we have before us is the tax adoption of the 2023 Schedule of Value Standards and Rules. And we have with us this morning Ms. Leslie Young and Mr. Glenn Jones. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Jones. Good morning, Vice Chairman Booker and Craven County Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm here to address with you the what's called the adoption of our Schedules of Value Standards and Rules. To bring you up to date, I came before you on Monday, October 17th, first to present the Schedule of Values, and I went over the calendar with you, and so that's what this morning is to stay in compliance with General Statute 105-317, letter C. The statute also said that when I came before you on November 7th, 2 weeks ago, to allow for a public hearing, and we've had that. And now we are on November 21st. It says I'm to present to you and ask for an adoption of these values. And then after this, we will have 4 publications in the New Bern Sun Journal. And from this point going forward, the citizens will have until December 22nd to bring forth any discrepancies or anything like that with our schedules to file that to the Property Tax Commission. Now, I don't foresee that simply because we didn't have any public comment, but that is still out there for that. So this, one other thing before we get to the adoption, I just wanted to let you know that this will be my last coming before you until the first Monday in February to talk about the delinquent tax amount that statutes require for me to do. So I just want to assure you that everything is on track. We are still scheduled to mail the revaluation notices the week of February 27th. And between now and that time, I will be in close communication with Jack, letting him know our steps by steps and how we're doing. And but if at any time you have any questions, you know where to reach me, okay? Chairman, at this time, I ask for a motion to adopt these schedules.
All right, Commissioners, do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the 2023 Schedule of Value Standards and Rules. Discussion on the motion. Hear none. Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask you to please call the roll on this.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Minor?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right. Ms. Young, before you leave, Commissioners, do you have any other questions, Ms. Young and Mr. Jones, while they're here? I just would like to, I know Glenn and Leslie may be able to answer this too, but y'all said you're still looking at values and how sales are going, and you will continue to do that through January 1, correct?
We'll actually continue until February 27th.
Okay. All right. That's good news. All right. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I make
Yes,
one
sir.
comment? I just want to thank Glenn and Leslie and all the county staff that went to the various revaluation open houses we had. I believe we had 9, Leslie? 8 different ones. Certainly different turnout at each one. Some were well attended, some there was just a few people at. All the citizens provided good questions to staff. If folks would have attended, they would have seen some of the tools we use, Glenn, particularly in your office with GIS and things. So I just want to thank you guys for doing that and the time you spent with it.
And one last note, when I was here on October 17th, I showed you my website. where we had the actual document on our website. Not only now do we have that document, but I've also have the portion of my presentation to you, video, that's on our website as well. So any of the citizens and taxpayers who aren't aware of schedule of values, things like that, they can see the actual presentation that I gave to you on our website. Thank you very much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Item 4 is social services. Mr. Jeffrey Merritt, have the low-income household water assistance program. Good morning, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. Today we bring before you a budget amendment for consideration. We have received additional federal funds for our low-income household water assistance program in the amount of $136,405. These funds are 100% federal funds with no county match, and we also provided a description of that program that we administer our department as well. We'd ask you to consider approving the budget amendment.
All right, are there any questions for Mr. Merritt? Yes, sir. Commissioner Liner.
What's our total amount we've received so far?
I'd have to get back with you on that. I think last time, we still have around, we received around 160 to begin with. And they said there was going to be 2 separate funding allocations for this. This is the second, and I think this is the last one we'll get. So in total, we received around 300, I believe.
Over
but I'll get back with you.
That's fine. A little over 300,000. Okay.
Other questions?
So moved.
We have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $136,405. Any further discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell? Yes. Commissioner Smith? Yes. Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, thank you, sir. Next item is planning, the request for the addition of state-maintained secondary road system. Mr. Chad Strong, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing good.
The developer of Pecan Ridge subdivision has requested that the Board of Commissioners adopt the standard SR2 road addition resolution. The roads included in this resolution are Pecan Grove Court, Pecan Ridge Drive. This allows the roads to be turned over to the state of North Carolina for maintenance. Once this resolution is passed, we'll be forwarded to NCDOT for their final consideration and acceptance of the road into the state maintenance system. At this point in time, a vote is needed to approve the standard SR2 road addition resolution.
All right, before we entertain a motion, are there any questions? Commissioner Liner.
How old is this subdivision, Chan?
I'd say it goes back to 2006.
2006. And you're happy with it? That meets all the state standards?
It was built to state standards, and they've made improvements since that time. The developer has gone back in and made repairs where deficiencies were listed by NCDOT, and it's ready to be turned over.
All right. Thank you, sir. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Additional.
Where is Pecan Court?
If you go down Bryce's Creek and you take a right on Crump Farm Road, and you go almost to the Jones County line, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay.
District 7.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Booker, you have any concerns? All right. Here are no further questions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the standard SR2 road addition resolution. Any further discussion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, sir. Next, we have help, Mr. Scott Harrelson. We have 2 items before us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, Commissioner Jones, we do have 2 items. The first is in regard to some fees for the animal shelter. And these fees, some of them are upgrades due to our costs going up, like, for instance, the boarding fee going from $10 a day to $15 a day. Some of these fees are fees that we don't currently have, like the Bordetella vaccine, or rule changes with the state. The owner surrender euthanasia request, where somebody could come in and request that we euthanize, the humane euthanasia of their animal. We're no longer able to do that because of a law or rule change at the state level, unfortunately. And then the heartworm positive adoption of a dog, instead of paying $125, we are suggesting $75 because of the additional cost incurred by somebody willing to do that.
Okay, questions? Commissioner Mitchell.
The owner surrender euthanasia. I understand the logic, but what's going to happen is these animals are liable to be dumped by the side of the road. which is an additional problem for the county and for the county animal shelter. Is there any way to address that with vouchers to vets or, I'm an animal lover. I hate to see animals put down, but I hate worse to see them dumped by the side of the road.
Yes, ma'am, because I do feel like this was a good service for the community. I don't think it was being taken advantage of. I can go back and check with the state, but I do believe Mr. Bell has attempted that, and all of the shelters across the state that were doing it were pretty much told the same thing. I'll go back and address it with Mr. Bell, see who I can call at the state to try to get back at that item. But the last that we were told was, it's just not doable at a local county shelter.
Well, okay, I understand, I hear that, but my guess is they are not thinking of the public health issues, the burden on animal control officers, and all the other things that goes with that, with it. But if you could kick that up a notch, I would sure appreciate it.
I will. And we are seeing a lot of owner turn-ins here lately. It seems like between what the ACOs are bringing us and what the public is turning into us is definitely outpacing our rescues and adoptions at the moment, because a lot of the facilities that we normally work with, they're full as well.
Scott, can I ask some questions?
Yes, sir.
I see where Commissioner Mitchell's going. Is the law change our ability to charge for the service or the ability to perform the service?
The ability to perform the service.
Ability to perform. So what if someone surrendered that dog
Yeah, then it would.
to our custody,
That's right.
and then we did the compassionate euthanasia with the owners present? Would that then eliminate the fee as well?
Yes, if they surrendered it to us, that could be a way around it, because then it becomes property of the county.
Now, I mean, I'm sure Scott and his team will catch some flack for your euthanasia rate going up, because those would technically be shelter animals at that point. But, I mean, it is a way to continue providing that service.
If you could look into that, I appreciate that, because it's just postponing the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Chair Booker, you have.
Yeah, I was just gonna, what, do you know what the logic was that they changed that rule, law, whatever?
I do not, Commissioner Booker. Sometimes I often wonder.
Commissioner Lino?
No, that was my question. I don't understand the logic. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Additional questions? All right, Scott, you have heard the request, and thank you for taking that back, and please acting on it as you can.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the updated fees for the Craven County Animal Shelter. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. All right, thank you. And then next would be the CDC COVID-19 vaccination funding.
Yes, sir, in the amount of $306,120. And these were for largely to backfill some of the COVID pay that was recently distributed to our county employees. And also, we requested of the county to consider some of our contractual staff as well. I really do believe these folks went above and beyond during COVID, because we're talking about our nurse practitioners and our dentists. And when our staff was at the mass vaccination clinic down at the convention center, a lot of these people were left back with reduced staff levels to keep all of the clinics running, because we never shut those down. We never shut down our mobile dental unit. I think it was the only public health dental unit that was still operating throughout this time, maybe on a reduced schedule because schools were closed, but they were still operating. So that's the bulk of these funds, minus a few things for janitorial or additional cleaning and some PPE.
All right, questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $306,120. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Weiner?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Cooper?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. Scott, before you leave, I have one question. As it pertains to booster shots, I'm getting more and more calls from citizens who are interested in getting them, and they're having trouble with their private practitioner or whoever they go through in getting it. How are we offering it through the health department? Is it an appointment-based, or is it only available to those who we gave the initial shot to? Can you explain a little bit of that to us, please?
Yes, sir. No, it is available to anyone, and we are offering it on an appointment basis. And usually we have been doing like a Pfizer clinic one day a week and a Moderna clinic the other. And the reason that a lot of probably their primary care providers, a lot of the Moderna vaccine was not sent out to them, so they just don't have it to give. We do have it. And we have been giving shot clinics, and I've seen 60, 70 a day come through. And another variant, the flu type A, it seems like that has swept through. I wouldn't say it's over, but that was the prevalent type of seasonal flu. So in addition to the booster, getting that flu shot this season is a really good idea because type A is covered in that seasonal flu shot.
And that number that they call is just the regular, the number there for the health department, or is there a special number?
It's the number for the health department, and just call the main number for the health department, and they can get anyone through. And it's usually one day a week, though, that we schedule each of those shots.
Okay. Any additional questions? Commissioner Lyons.
Scott, I was in a meeting last week and had an individual from the hospital there and made a statement that we got 20 cases of monkeypox in the county.
20 sounds a little high. The last number I heard was much lower than that, but I'd hate to say that they were inaccurate in that. We have had some cases, but not a great deal.
Additional questions? Scott, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Commissioner Smith.
I'd like to be sure that I'm clear on my thinking. You said the flu shot and this last COVID shot is in combination. You get the one shot for both?
No, ma'am. I did not
You
mean
can
that.
get both of them, but they're two
Separate shots.
Separate
Yes,
shots.
ma'am.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
Thank you.
All right, next, Commissioners, we have appointments. We have pending, current, and upcoming. Commissioners, under pending, we have there the Havelock Craven County Library Board. I'd like for us to act upon it today. I'd like to ask that we would appoint George Liner to fill this seat. I'd like to nominate him.
Make a motion.
Okay, are there any additional nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we will accept Mr. Liner by acclamation. Are there any additional pending appointments that are there that you want to act upon today?
Yeah, the voluntary ag District 1, I'd like to postpone that until next meeting.
Okay, that would be on the current, so we will defer consideration of that. All right, right before that one is then the City of New Bern Board of Adjustment. You have the ETJ appointment needed. Any commissioners have an appointment for that?
I have a person, I don't have the complete information. I have Sandra West Gray
Okay.
from Rock and Run area. She's out 17 out in Rock and Run area.
Madam Clerk, how much longer do we have on that? Is it our dead?
December 22nd.
22nd. So do you want to let Commissioner Smith?
I want her to get that application.
Okay, and then bring it at our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioners, are y'all okay with that? Okay. You all right with that, Ms. B?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right, then we'll have it for our next meeting. Thank you. The next appointment would be the Fire Tax Commissioner Board for Township 3 Dover. You have Rodney Russell who seeks reappointment. I would ask Commissioners that we would reappoint him. I nominate him. Are there additional nominations from the floor? Here none, we will receive him by acclamation. Next will be the Craven County Recreational Advisory Council. You have Mr. Bill Taylor, who seeks reappointment.
I nominate he be reappointed.
Okay, we have the nomination of Bill Taylor. Are there additional nominations? Here none, we will accept him by acclamation. Then you have the Nursing Home Advisory Committee. You have there a lady who does not wish to be reappointed, so this is an open seat. So I would ask commissioners to please make note of that, and we will defer it and bring it back. Next, you have the Regional Agent Advisory Committee. Ms. Williams, is she eligible, Nan, for reappointment to this? Do you know?
Yeah, I think she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to a reappointment.
Okay, we have a nomination from Ms. Williams. Are there additional nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we will accept her by acclamation. Then you have the Craven County Health Board. And commissioners, please note that these are designated seats that have to be filled by these designees from these, an engineer seat and a optometrist. First one is Mr. Dwayne Alligood, who resigned, but there is an applicant, Mr. Joseph Avalos, for appointment to fill this vacated seat.
I nominate Mr. Avalos.
Okay, we have Mr. Avalos has been nominated, or additional nominations from the floor. Hear none, he will be accepted. And then you have Ms. Earl for the optometrist, and she seeks reappointment.
I nominate Ms. Earl.
Okay, we have the nomination, Ms. Earl. Are there additional nominations? Hear none, we accept her by acclamation. All right, Commissioners, you see the upcoming terms expiring there. Please take note of that. Are there any additional appointments to be made today?
No, sir. Could I ask, Clerk, could you check to see if Terry Otero is eligible for reappointment?
She and I communicated, and she could have 1 year, but in our emails, basically, it sounded negative. I'll forward you the email she and I had.
Okay.
She has 1 year. She has served 3 terms, so she filled in somebody's term, and it's like she only has 1 year left that she could fill under the 12-year.
Okay, I'm getting a different impression in conversations with her, so I'll reach out as well to.
Right, I'll share our.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, hearing none of their appointments, Father, we will go to County Attorney's report. Mr. Harry Grady.
Mr. Chairman, no report today.
Okay, thank you, sir. County Manager report, Mr. Vite.
Mr. Chairman, one quick thing, I'll just do it from here. Attended a Highway 70 meeting last week. Commissioner Mark may share some of the thoughts, but we do have a new Board of Transportation member from Craven County, Mary Jo Alcope. She attended along with Commissioner Mark and Don Bumgarner and others from Craven. Really positive, amount of work that was on the billet for us coming forward. I mean, we know there's some major projects going on and other projects that are being accelerated. A lot of it's due to our previous representation, Mr. Hugh Overholt. So we can't forget that. Hugh did a great job for us in getting these projects moving over the last 10 years. So just wanted to put that on the record. That's all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the County Manager? Okay. We move to Commissioner's report. Let's begin with Commissioner Mark.
Well, Jack pretty much covered Highway 70, except that Highway 17 is back into vogue again. So I was happy to learn. I attended a precinct meeting on Saturday at Fairfield Harbor, Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And I have a tri-community Christmas party coming this week, and that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Smith.
I don't have anything today.
All right. Commissioner Liner.
Yes, sir. Let me take up a lot of time.
All right.
Last Thursday, Ms. B and myself attended the farewell to 2 school board members. Well received. A lot of people showed up, a lot of staff and everything else. So thanks to Ms. Boomer and Kim Smith for their dedication for the past 20 years sitting on that board. And like I said, that was good for that. Saturday, I attended the Friends of the Library dedication over at Creekside Park for the storybook trail that they put around that half-mile trail, which is good. And Jack, you need to commend the rec department on how they set that up with them, the partnership with the Friends of the Library and that storybook. And it's bilingual, so I think it's going to be well received and put out there, and it was well done on that. 2 weeks ago, the VA reached back out to Jack and myself requesting to have another meeting here. We had that meeting Thursday this past week with their leadership and myself and the leadership here. It was well received. It was far above what any of us ever expected. They came down with 2 proposals to present to us, and I think we're on board with them. We've got our paperwork filled out. We're waiting for credentials and certification to do, but they offered us it in our health department, our FQHCs, authorizing them to be primary care providers for veterans, and they will pay for that service. We got to work it out. There will be a contract written up between the county and the VA, but I think that meets a lot. This county has over 12,000 veterans in it, and we're only reaching about 66% of them based on either knowledge or money situations with the veterans and not knowing. So having this being their primary care provider, which also they can then, if they need a specialty doctor, they can send that information back up to VA, and VA can provide the specialty doctor out there. We initially thought we were going to go with Atlas, but Atlas seems to be going out the door after about 18 months, but they did come back and offer us a telehealth service that Steve has been working with them, and they've offered that to us. And this machine, I thought telehealth was you walk in, there's a TV, and you talk to your doctor. This is a robotic doctor. I mean, it does everything. I mean, it does heart rate, it does blood pressure, it does eye checks, it does x-rays. I mean, they're sending Jack a video of what this machine does, and once he gets it, I'm sure he's going to share it with you all. But it is unbelievable. They're going to provide that piece of equipment, and they're going to train our techs to work it and be there with them to do that. So it's a good sign. It's about 70 to 90 days out, because it's going to take us that long to get our credentials so we can start billing once they get set up. But they took it back. They're going to start looking at contracts. It'll be between the leadership and the lawyers to work out the contracts and agreements on that. But I felt good about it, Jack. You added to it anything you want to bring up?
I exceeded my expectations from where we started, Commissioner Liner, back in the summer.
Yeah.
The only thing I would point out was the demo they did with the iPad, which can be given to the veteran. That was the one I'm the weakest on. I mean, basically, a veteran can request it as a telehealth option if they can't get to the office. But the other two were amazing, really.
And I have some handouts here that they had sent that I had burned off. I'll give each and every one of you a copy of that. And then, Alderman, if you don't mind, I want to give to you so we can get back to the committees and everything else that we belong to on that. But it's a lot of good information, and I feel real good about it. Only thing I asked this board, next year when we get started, we're going to have somebody on this board, 1 or 2 people on this board is going to have to take lead on it to move forward, because Jack, and I'm not throwing this at you, Jack is not familiar with the military way of operating and what needs to be done through the VA, so we're going to need somebody to assist Jack in moving this thing forward so it doesn't die, and I don't think it is, because they're eager. And one thing we forgot pushed out, Jack, and Gene noticed this more than any of us. On the initial discussion, I didn't bring up the dental. Thursday, I brought up the capabilities that we have a dental doctor on staff, a dentist, and they almost jumped out of their pants of being enthused about having a dentist on staff here and being able to work. So that is something that they're going to look at. It'd be a separate contract with us, with the dentist, that could probably be only used in the summer times when we're not doing the schools and everything else. That was a highlight for them and everything else. So that went well. I think you may have seen it in the paper. You may not have seen it in the paper. DAV Chapter 26 down in Havelock has been working with the veterans organizations and the Vietnam Wall, the Moving Wall, Crying Wall. They got announcements Friday. They received it. They got it. It will be in here November 2nd through the 5th of next year in Havelock, the setup. And I think that's a big accomplishment for them. It's a big accomplishment for this county to have it twice in a 3-year period for this area. So that is good news, and there's going to be a lot of help and a lot of work has got to be done to get this moving. But we got a year to move it. But we have been told that we've got it, and it will be coming here. Two last things, and I'll get off. I'd like to throw this out at the board next year for y'all's budget session, everything else. And Denny, I don't want to steal your thunder on this here. I think you're aware of it, what's going on. I'd like to have this board consider next year. The Aging Planning Board, I think everybody realizes this community is getting aged out. We're becoming more of an aged community, over 60 community. I don't want to sound negative on this. We do a lot for the seniors as it goes to providing the senior centers, providing some of the staff, but we don't provide any funding for the programs. We live strictly on what the HCCBG grant gives us, which is about $455,000 that runs about 8 programs. The waiting list is growing, and I feel it's going to continue to grow. And I think Denny and I seen it when we was up in Cadavas County at the meeting up there, that those counties are giving $1 million, $2 million. And I'm not really suggesting that. I think we got to start small and looking at. But I'd like you to consider on the Aging Planning Board, and it can be separate from the HCCBG. It's completely different, but it would help programs. And most programs I'm looking at is the 2 congregate meals, because those waiting lists are growing for the waiting list, and the in-home care for DSS, and there's one other program, DSS, and I'd like for y'all to take consideration, at least talk about, because we're going to have to start doing something, because we're either going to pay now or we're going to pay later when we got to put them someplace else. And last but not least, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and be safe.
Thank you, Commissioner Liner, and thank you for your leadership on all those areas, but especially those dealing with our VA. That's a great win for our veterans here in Craven County. Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since this is Thanksgiving week, number one, I would like to say that the opportunity to serve this community, my neighbors, my friends, my fellow citizens, is a blessing in my life, and I say thanks every year for it. Everyone have safe travels. Enjoy Thanksgiving and count your blessings. We have a great deal to be thankful for this year as we're coming out of COVID. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McCabe.
Yes, I have a few things to say. First of all, I'd like to congratulate to be Commissioner Hunt for a good election day, and she and I worked very hard at the polls there, and we worked good together. We had no arguments, no fussing. We did very well. She won, and it was a good race. And it's hard to work in an election for 14 days in Havelock. It was too many days. It is. For she and I getting work from 7:30 to 7:30 every day, from Monday to Saturday, and it was very rough for both of us. And everybody that out there helped us was hard. And I also like to thank all the Craven County employees for the good work they did under my administration. And I'd like to thank the county manager, Gene, and all his staff, the attorney, for good work. I enjoyed being with you guys, and I'm going to miss each and every one of you. I also like to thank my community. It came out and those came out and supported me on this election. It was good and fair election. She won, and I want to thank her for that. And also my colleagues here, George Liner and Commissioner Mr. B, Tom Mark. Here I got who is it? Dana Booker and Miss Mitchell. I'll see you for last. I enjoy working with each one of you. I'm gonna stand up on this one here too. I have worked 16 years as your commissioner for Craven County, and I'm really happy to work on Jesse Jones administration as the chairman. He was the best chairman I had in 16 years. I'll give it to you. He's honest, he's fair to all of us. And I hope you continue being chair, Mr. Jason Jones. And it's, during this election year, I really felt hurt. I'm a man like anyone else. It was rough. I'm really going to miss being Chad, Don, everybody working with the planning department, and I'm really going to miss everyone. 16 years is a long time to work. Sorry, guys. Also, like I say, it was a good election, but they lost, and the good Lord said to me, the work that you have done speaks for you. And I really work hard for everyone, even in the county and to the my community in the Hollow District 5. And I would the best for the upcoming commissioner, Ms. Hunt. Ms. Hunt do a good job through the county and through the Hollow community, and do a good job like I did, and be out there and work for everybody. It's not just working for your community. It's not just come here at the desk like we do here and say yeah and nay. You have to get in with your feet on the ground. And if they call you for potholes, ditches, and drainage, you got to go. And you got to pick a trash like everyone else. That's your duty as a commissioner. They ain't just sit here and with your council. You got to get your boots on and get out there and work for everybody. And I worked very, very tirelessly in my community for 16 years. I keep telling everyone, go on to my bow and read my watch club. They tell you everything what I've done for 16 years in my community. It's a hell of a lot I've done. But some people don't appreciate, but more does appreciate it. But most of all, God sees what I've done. He sees everything. And I want to thank everybody again for the staff, working with you guys, and it's been a pleasure. I'm going to miss everybody. It's a long time. So thank you for everything, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Before Vice Chair speaks, Commissioner Smith wanted to make a comment.
I reconsidered, and I would like to speak just for a moment. First of all, I think I may say this later on, but I want to say to you, Mr. McKay, I worked here with you for only 2 years, but I appreciate your passion and your guidance, and I appreciate the efforts that you put into this board. And it gives me direction and hope, and it gives me inspiration. I want you to know that. And I do also, I'd like to say that when you said, you were, Mr. Liner, you were discussing the aged and what's happening with age and how we're maybe overlooking some of them. And I attended on Sunday, Gwendolyn Bryant, who worked in this office, his mother's birthday party. Doc Bryant is 100 years old, and I think that is noteworthy. and she's still getting around, and of course with help, but she still moves on her own, and her mind is very alert. So I think that is awesome. She's blessed with that. And I also, as Mr. Liner stated, I tend to overlook these matters until someone else mentioned them. Mr. Liner stated that I did attend the farewell reception for Kim Smith and Frances Boomer, two outstanding ladies who worked very diligently for Craven County Board of Education. All of you know that that is my passion. We talk about the shortcomings and ills of public education, but I'm an advocate for public education because that includes everyone, from every state, every condition. So these ladies worked with me on the board of Craven County Board of Education for 14 years and 16 years. And when I stood to mention that on that occasion, I did not mention that Frances Boomer was also one of the first. She was the first black female to be the chairman of that board. That is significant, but the most important significance of her reign was the job, the passion she had for what she was doing, the hard work. It's wonderful to be first, but it's great when you do the best you can, when you do a good job in your leadership, and she did that, and I think that's worth recognizing. And so I say here, thank you to both of those ladies who worked very diligently for the children of Craven County Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice Chair Booker.
Yeah, just one thing. Last Wednesday night, Chad Strong, Jack Veit, and myself, county manager, were invited to go to the Baptist on Mission facility on Cherry Point Road. And I know most people have not been there, maybe a few of you have. They took an old gymnasium shell of a building and turned it into a state-of-the-art facility that can house 90-plus people, volunteers, that come in and work here. Excuse me, come in and work here doing volunteer work, volunteer work to help our community, people whose homes have been damaged. And they came in right after Hurricane Florence, and they upgraded this building. It took them a while. I know this past spring, there were, I want to say 75 students from Penn State University came in and worked for a week. That was one of their biggest groups. But this facility has a commercial kitchen where they can feed the volunteers. It's not one big room, it's a bunch of rooms with bunk beds, women's section, men's section, and they're continuing. And, you know, it's been 4 years and 2 months since Hurricane Florence hit. And one of the first meetings that I attended here as a commissioner 4 years ago, a little less than January, be 4 years, somebody, one of the volunteers or one of the organizations said, and I don't recall who said this, they said it's going to take you at least 5 years to get your community back on track. Well, we're rapidly coming upon that 5 years. And I just want to mention that this group of Baptist men, it's called Baptist on Mission. It's mostly men, but there were women volunteers here too. They've worked tirelessly for 5 years, will be 5 years, helping citizens in our community, and they continue to do that. We've provided them with a list of people who have requested help. Chad stays on top of that and works with them regularly. So I just wanted to say thank you to that group of people. They've got a full-time husband and wife who run the facility and take care of the people coming in and assign them to the jobs that they're going to go out and work on. And they're going to continue to do this. So we're very thankful for that. And it's supported by the Baptist churches of North Carolina. They're the ones that pay for this. So thank you to them. And if you get an opportunity to stop in there and see that facility, it's worth the time to see the beautiful job that they've done. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. As has already been stated, we are in the midst of this Thanksgiving season, and all of us have a long list of things that we can thank God for. Definitely myself, number one in my life is I thank the Lord for Jesus Christ and for salvation today. Going down that list, you know, we categorize them as family, and we keep going down. But to be able to sit and to serve the citizens of Craven County like all 7 of us do is humbling, and we're thankful. And I thank the citizens for this opportunity. But I also thank the Lord for the opportunity to serve with each of you. You know, we do have 2 commissioners, Commissioner Liner, Commissioner McCabe, who will be leaving us. We have 2 that will be joining us, and they will become a part of this family just like the 2 of you have been. But, you know, when anyone leaves a family, you know, there are emotions. And for both of you, I just want to tell you that we're definitely going to have other times to comment on our appreciation for our colleagues. But I just want to let both of you know my appreciation for what you've done for the citizens of this county, for your devotion. You've heard them today of all the things that they're involved in and committed to. And, you know, this is on... Public service is on our minds 24 hours a day, really. I mean, we all wake up during the night. There's things that's on our minds, and staff has the same thing of things that we want to do, how we can help others, and that's what it's about. And that's the great thing that God has given each of you is the ability to be able to help others in that gift, and I thank you for your willingness to use it. And so, having said all that, I say on behalf of my family, I hope all of you have a great Thanksgiving, and to my colleagues, the same to each of you. Today, Commissioners, we do have a closed session that has been requested pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3 to consult with an attorney to protect the attorney-client privilege, and 143, 318, 11A5 to establish the public body's negotiating position for acquisition of real property or instruct staff or agents about the negotiation. Do we have a motion that we go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to go into closed session. The only discussion I would ask is that we would take about a 10-minute recess before we come back. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?